Claire Obscure Expedition 33 somehow managed to get 9 trophies, including Game of the Year at the Game Awards this year. As someone whose video game tastes mainly consist of 3D pinball for Windows XP, I hadn't heard much about it until the Game Awards. But is it really that good? Did it deserve 9 awards? Will you like and subscribe? Why do I have a rant? The introduction opens with Gustave, who is a handsome French man with a fancy arm throwing rocks into the water. He is encouraged to rizz up his ex-girlfriend, Sophie, by Maëlle, who is his sister, but not really, because they aren't related. Gustave eventually gives in and talks to Sophie, who is turning 33. Today is the day of her gommage, which I'll try to explain later. They go down to the docks where there is a festival happening for the expedition goers, who are celebrating the departure of Expedition 33. At this point, I was wondering why the pillar said 34 when the game is titled Expedition 33. Another cutscene plays where the gommage begins and this weird monster comes out and replaces the 34 with 33. Sophie and all the other 33-year-olds fade into flower petals and make everyone feel sad. From what I can tell, the gommage is the day of the year when the paintress, who is the weird lady that painted the numbers, continues the countdown and all the people who are that old when it happens die/get Thanos snap. Is it permanent? I don't know, I haven't finished the game. The next day, Gustave and some other people, including Maëlle, leave on Expedition 33 to go and destroy the paintress. The first expedition was Expedition 0, then 99 for some reason. Wait, hold on, what's 100 minus 33? Oh no. All the other was 67. Expeditions were unsuccessful, obviously. So it's up to Expedition 33 to save the world. Or at least France. Which, I mean, did we really need to go to all that trouble to save France? Their ship lands on a beach and they encounter some old dude who is obviously over 33. He attacks them and seemingly everyone except Gustave dies. Gustave comes to and eventually finds a pile of bodies. His friends. He sits down and is about to shoot himself when Lune, who can float for seemingly no reason at all, stops him and convinces him that they should continue on their mission and try to find survivors of the expedition. They continue on and eventually end up in a new area called the Spring Meadows. They have to get to something called the Indigo Tree, which is the pre-designated meeting point if the expedition goes south, which it has. They hope that not everyone has died and they can reform a small group to take down the paintress. It's at this point where I realize how beautiful this game is graphics-wise. Even while it's struggling to run on my RTX 2080, it's still very nice to look at. The jury's still out on the gameplay though, so I can't call it my game of the year yet. After encountering a lot of battles, which I did very poorly at because I'm awful at turn-based RPGs, Lune and Gustave end up at the Indigo Tree, where a message has been left for them in ominous red ink, saying that Maëlle is near the big coral something or other. They argue about if it's a trap or not, and eventually set out to find Maëlle. They go into a new area that's underwater, but also not really. Also, the music is so good. Listen to this. It's so good. They eventually come up on a manor that also has really good music. It's a bop, and I tried for like half an hour to figure out a puzzle that I didn't actually need to figure out before finding Maëlle in one of the rooms. She made a friend called the Curator who teaches the expedition how to jump in unison or something. I feel like they could have figured that out on their own. Like, it's not that hard. Before kicking us out of his house. The expedition roams around a bit and eventually find a boss named Globu or Glabu or something like that, I don't know. It's an extremely easy boss fight, and I didn't rage quit at all after losing several times in a row. So easy. Okay. Okay, let me just, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so the Globu boss fight was really easy. I won it first try and never even died. After the boss is subdued, Maëlle walks up to it and does a How to Train Your Dragon on Globu. He jumps away and Gustave tries to shoot at him. The expedition continues on to a gestural village where Mael thinks they can get some help or something to defeat the Paintress. The gestrals are these little dudes who have the reading comprehension of the average American 5th grader. Not gonna lie, they do look like those little dudes from Moana or whatever they are. I don't know what they're called. The expedition eventually finds the gestural village and another member of the expedition, Skiel, who is the champion of the gestrals, having defeated their strongest guardian. Skiel joins them, and they continue on to the chief, who says to cross the ocean to get to the Paintress, they will need a boat. The chief says that there's a creature called Eskie that can help them cross the sea. After getting the password to Eskie's den, the expedition walks over there, where they meet Eskie. He says that he will help them get across the sea, but he needs Flory, his rock, to help him cross the water.
Flory was stolen by my arch nemesis, the one whose every step shakes the foundation of the world, the one known as
Francois. The expedition walks about 200 feet to the right and confront Francois, who is a turtle. They battle him, but it turns out that he didn't have Flory. Evidently, Flory is in another part of the world called the Stonewave Cliffs. The expedition hoofs it over there and looks around for a while before finding a secret cave with spooky lights. Ooh. They walk into the cave and eventually find the mutated equivalent of the Thumb Thumbs from Spy Kids. They defeat him, and then Mael breaks the rule of premature gloating. Thumb, of course, isn't dead. There's a second phase to the boss fight. It wasn't particularly difficult, to be honest. Anyway, after the expedition actually finally kills Thumbboy, they find Flory and give it back to Eskie, who then allows them to board us back on the sea. Skiel, and Lune jump onto Eskie's back, and Mael tells Gustav that he should try throwing another rock, since they are closer to the Paintress than they've ever been. Something, story moment, something, I don't know, man. Gustav hunts around for the perfect rock and is snuck up on by the white-haired guy who killed everyone on the beach. He puts Mael in a shield dome and stabs Gustav, who enters into a fight with him. The white-haired man is unaffected and kills Gustav. Mael escapes from the shield and attacks the white-haired man, but is shoved back. Suddenly, another white-haired person who looks a lot like Gustav for some reason lands in front of the older white-haired man and convinces him to leave the expedition alone. He helps Mael up and she jumps down to the others. Later, in camp, the Gustav lookalike returns and explains himself. His name is Verso, and he was part of Expedition Zero, which for some Expedition Zero came before Expedition 99, so Expedition Zero is basically Expedition 100. The leader of Expedition Zero is the older white-haired man who killed everyone on the beach. His name is Renoir. For some reason, they are immortal because of the Paintress, and so they are not affected by the Gommage. And if the Paintress is defeated, then they will both die. Renoir wants to keep living and is trying to kill Expedition 33 so they don't defeat the Paintress. Verso is tired of living because, quote, he has seen all of his friends buried, end quote, and he is kind of tired of living, and he offers to help the expedition defeat the Paintress. So that's the end of the first act, about 10 hours into the game for me. If you want me to continue making videos on the next few acts, I think there are 2 more. Make sure to subscribe and tell me in the comments. Hit the like. I'm not a good YouTuber, guys. Just do it. Just hit the like button, subscribe. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Toodles.